How do you feel about selling every day? And are you making sure that you have something to sell in every single email that you send? If those questions bring up tricky feelings, then this soulful selling story in today's episode is for you. Welcome to the Soulful Sales Show, where we talk about believing in the value of your offers, getting them in front of your right people, and selling more of what you do in your unique way. Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Soulful Sales Show. Today, we have another mini Soulful Selling Stories interview with Anouk Briere-Godbout, all about building the muscle that made it no big deal for her to sell daily via email. Let me tell you a little bit about Anouk before we dive in. She is a mum of 3 emotionally intense kids who has a master's in social work and has been supporting parents for 15 years. The same amount of time she has been a mum. And now she supports parents of emotionally intense kids for whom nothing in the general parenting advice seems to work. So they feel confident in trying different things that fit their kids' needs better. In this chat, we talk about how she used to feel about selling via email and the mindset shift that now means she sells very regularly, and the power of scheduling emails in advance and forgetting you're launching altogether. Enjoy. So, can you start by telling us a little bit about you and your business journey?
Yeah, that could take a while, so I'll do a very quick version. So first, I'm a mom of 3, and this is mainly focused of what I do now. I used to be a social worker, and when I first came into your world, I was a photographer, family photographer. And we moved as a family, and for like family organization reasons, doing photography was not really sustainable anymore. And I was missing my job as a social worker supporting parents. So I moved to doing more of that online. And in the process, and I was just supporting parents in general, because as a social worker, I've always supported parents. And at some point, I focused down more in supporting parents of emotionally intense kids when I realized that I have no clue what it is to parent normal, quote unquote, normal kids, because I only have emotionally intense kids, and I always have been working with parents of kids with any, like all kind of special needs. So regular kids for me is not a thing. I have no clue what that means. So that's why I kind of narrow down. So I've been pivoting a lot in my business. Um, and that last pivot came last year, a year ago. And at the same time, I crashed my entire website for technical reasons. And so it was kind of a new start. So yeah, I think that's the short version of how my business has evolved.
So, what you said that you were going to talk about today was your experience feeling confident sending more emails
Mhm.
and specifically selling in every single email. So, I mean, I don't know how it worked in your photography business, if email marketing was a big part of it, or like how did you start off feeling about emails, and what was the experience in, I guess, building that muscle of selling by email?
I started as a photographer. I was sending an email every 2 weeks back then, and I felt it was a lot. Not
Mm.
just the time it took, but just I was afraid to annoy people. And there is a thing also, like it's a local business. It's different than online business for sure. In general, photographers will send less email often, or like business owners that are more local than online will send more less email. There's less need for it. You don't sell as often, I would say. But it was not even that. It was really like I could not see myself sending more than an email every 2 weeks. Like it was just not a thing. Um, and now I can confidently say that I did send sometimes an email a day for a week for some events. And just right now, I'm doing a flash sale, so it's 3 email in a row because it's a 3-day flash sale, and I've came to a point that I just don't care at all. Like it's not I don't give it a second thought now, and it's okay. Like I evolved from once every 2 weeks to once a week, and for a long time, the one a week was like all I could think of doing. And at some point, it was like one email with 20 links in it because I was trying to fit everything in one email. It made no sense. Um, it was much more realistic to separate it at some
Yeah.
point. And with so many, like I think I did almost all, most, if not all of your uh, Sell Everyday weeks and the month in the membership. And that was really helpful because I don't use social media a lot. So basically the only way for me to sell every day was to send an email every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could also use social media and do other stuff, but social media for me feels like I'm saying I'm selling, but I'm never really selling in social media. It's just appearance. Like it just I'm yeah, it's just I'm saying I'm doing it, but it's not gonna get any results, or it's not really selling, you know. So yeah, I think it got to that point, and in the last the every like the Sell Everyday month, that's where I came to the point where I was like, there's no point in sending an email if I'm not at least mentioning something people can buy.
Yeah.
Even if it's just one link or one PS or just a little mention really subtly, but at least mentioning something. Um, and I added like in my footer of my email, there's link to some of my main products. So at least there's that in every email because I forget sometimes to add something else. But yeah, at least there's that in every email.
I love that. So just for the context, like Anouk was talking about our Sell Every Day challenge that we do in the membership. It's something that we do fairly regularly, but in earlier this year we did it for an entire month. So I'm so glad that that was helpful for you. So when you said before you couldn't see yourself or you couldn't even think of sending more than one email every 2 weeks,
Mhm.
why? Was it because, oh, I don't have enough ideas for what to write, or is it just like this is just like people are going to hate it? Like what were the
Yeah.
thoughts going on?
Was more the like I'm gonna annoy people way too much.
Hmm.
That was really that. And again, yesterday I was chatting with a client and she missed completely. I did a get I called them doing it together week, so like a live run of one of my product. And it was like the recap day yesterday when she saw the first video in the Facebook group. So she never saw any videos and she never saw any mention of it in emails. And I'm pretty sure I would have to check, but I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in at least 4 emails and I sent one just for that, at least one if it's not two, just to for that. So I must have sent 4 email about that and I posted in my group 2 times and I did like 5 videos and she only saw that on the last day. So I was like, and she's highly engaged and I checked after that, she's opening 93% of my emails. So she
Wow.
missed it because it was after something and she had clicked to the link before that information. So like there's always reminders that way that even if we think we're sending a lot of emails, we might not be sending as much as we think.
I love
So
that. Like such a specific example highlighting it. And it's definitely the case with me. Like even today, I was also reflecting on the emails because I was checking my inbox. I have so many emails, right?
yes.
And there are some that I just ignore and I will never go back and check. But there are some people in my inbox who, I seek out their emails and I
Hmm.
recognize their name and I'm like, oh, I really want to read that one today. And I was just going through like sorting out some old emails. I was like, oh, I didn't even know that person emailed. And this is one of the people's who I do read regularly. And I
Yeah.
totally missed that email. And it's just a really good reminder. Like, firstly, a lot of people do have messy inboxes. That's fine. And we won't see everything. Even if we are actively like, even if
Yeah.
it's like a super fad like yours, they're not gonna see everything. It's really, really important to talk about things multiple times. And we are the only person who will ever see the full extent of how much we're talking about our offer.
Yes, yes. And that's why I love like your suggestion of scheduling sales email. So
Yeah.
that way I can forget and I don't like because in a lounge at some point I always freak out that I'm sending too much and I'm knowing people. And so I love that I scheduled them and even at some point one lounge I was like, okay, it's not working. I should just stop trying. but it was more work to stop than to not stop because I had already scheduled all the emails. So I just didn't stop because it was done. And taking the action was like stopping the launch was more work
Yes.
than not stopping it. So
I love that. And so, can I just ask about your summit? Because in the membership,
yeah.
you shared that you had scheduled out, like, because we were doing this Sell Every Day month,
Mhm.
and you shared that you had scheduled out, I don't even know how many emails, but I was so impressed by what you shared.
I would say for the summit, for sure, I sent more emails, and it was like a really good timing for me because the summit and the Sell Everyday Month happened at the same time. I would probably have less, like, would have been not as easy for me probably to sell that easily every day if it was not for the summit, because the summit was like I was sending more email than usual to my entire list, and then I was sending email to the people registered to upgrade to the All Access Pass, and I was posting on social and resharing what the speakers were sharing. So it was kind of easier for me to celebrate it in that event than it would have been another situation, most probably. But it definitely helped to up the game of sending as many emails. And during the summit, I sent 3 emails a day to summit participants. And during that time, yes, I got unsubscribed, but very not higher than normal.
Mhm.
And they were getting 3 emails a day. And the click rate on those emails was like between 50 and 75%. So people were clicking on those emails, they were
Wow.
opening them. And so it's helpful to know that when people want to hear about you, you're not bothering them even with 3 emails a day. And yes, it was a short, like I would not do that on an everyday basis. That was for a special event. And people also know that they won't receive 3 emails a day from you forever. It's temporary, but it's still helpful to see that, I would say.
Oh yeah, amazing. And that absolutely amazing click-through rate. So what lessons are you taking? Like having experienced this, firstly, just sending more emails than ever, and secondly, amazing advanced scheduling of these emails so it's set and forget. What lessons will you take from this experience going forward with the way that you sell?
Definitely the scheduling part for me is like a no-brainer. Like the flash sale right now I'm doing, as it's been scheduled for like 2 weeks. I'm not even thinking about it. It's just going. And I got a sale yesterday and one today, and I've done nothing. So that's kind of great. You can almost forget it.
Mhm.
So that's good. Um, but yeah, I think that the scheduling part is really what's like the other day for some reason, like it was my live. That was not like selling, but it was the live run of my course, and I had scheduled all my emails. And because of Easter weekend and my daughter off preschool for one more day at the Easter weekend, I totally forgot the live of Friday I was supposed to do. But they still received the email with all the information they needed. So at least they had the information, even if I was not there to do the live on Facebook. So like it's also a catch up. And if we forget stuff, like this is gonna catch up for us. So it's great when like life caught up with us. Like for example, all my reminders for my summit for like the all access pass, the bonuses expired and other bonuses that I gave more time for when they expire. All of that is scheduled also like ahead of time, and they have $25 credit. So it's a way to sell like and remind them to buy something with their credit before it expires also. And so like all of those schedule in advance. It means, and the credit I gave a year. So I even scheduled those emails for like 8 months and I don't have to
Love it.
think about it anymore.
I love
But
it. So
it's gonna
yeah,
be selling things because they will have a credit
yeah.
of $25 to use. So
Exactly. Oh, you're amazing at scheduling events. I definitely do it when I can. I'm not always great at practicing what I preach, but it really changes. It allows me just to detach a bit. And I
yeah.
guess that's the last thing I wanted to ask you, in relation to this, because I know you've had times when you've done all this work and you've been emailing every day and selling every day, and sometimes it doesn't pay off. I mean, it's a fact of running a
Mhm.
business.
I think we talked about that so many times over the time we were like I've been in your world and things are not working and you're not selling as much as you would love to. And I would say it's really the scheduling part, definitely. Like I was saying, like just even if their launch is not going well, and I add launch at 0. So like, but still I went through the end because I had scheduled everything.
Yeah.
So people still got all the emails. So I can say that I showed up for the launch.
Mhm.
Maybe I didn't hold the energy as much as I should have in some ways, but at least they received an email. Um, and yeah, I would say at some point it kind of pays off. Like right now, my sale, I got some sales from it, not 1,000 sales, but I got some sales. Like it's trickling, but I can see that it's going slowly, but it's there. Like it's coming. There's a bit more sell. I got some sell from the summit, and since the summit, I got a few sales too. It's also, and it's like just a cliche, but for me, it was really niching down and finding the right people. And since the summit, my summit was really targeted, of course, to
Yeah.
my people, which was not the case with all the other bundled or summit I participated in. And that's very helpful. Like I can see the difference it makes. So it's a slow process, but it's coming. It's just keep doing it. I know it's all everything that you've been selling me for
Yeah.
years now. It's that's it. Like it's just keep at it and keep focusing and keep doing the work, even if it's not giving results right away.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that because it is a part of the journey. And I can say for sure that if you are committing to showing up and selling every day, you're gonna be building more momentum than if you're not doing that, right?
Yeah, yeah. And sending an email every 2 weeks to sell something is never going to give you the same results as sending 2 emails a week. Like
Yeah.
it's just math. It's pure math.
Okay, so just a quick fire question before we wrap up. What is your, maybe you've already answered this, but what is your biggest win, lesson, or mindset shift since being part of the Soulful Sales Society membership?
That's hard because it's hard for me to separate the membership from everything else I've done from you. But um, I would say it's probably that. It just keep going and um, not stopping the sales before it ends. I think
Yeah.
that's one. And selling in I think that's a big one of selling in a way that feels good. Like I can sell without having a full-on sale email. I can just mention things in passing while I'm talking about something, and feeling confident. And I've been selling things to one-on-one clients, just chatting with them, and like they ask question, I'm like, oh, in that course you could have more help with that, and they went and bought that course. So like I would not have been able to do that before the membership.
Amazing. Thank you. And finally, where can people go to find out more about what you do and potentially work with you and sign up to your courses?
Yeah, my website is familymoments.ca. I could tell you to go on Instagram too, but I'm not a lot on there. I am. If you message me, I will answer. I'm honestly more on Facebook than Instagram. Um, and I do have a few freebies. My main one that I did in your recent freebie bootcamp is called Easier Outings. So it's for parents of emotionally intense kids who have trouble with their kids sometimes when they go out the door, and it can be hard. So it's to help them and ease that process a bit.
I'll share
So
the link for that one in the show notes for everyone. Oh, thank you so much for sharing your experience. I'm sure this is going to be really, really helpful for a lot of people to hear.
hope so. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Soulful Sales. If you have a moment to rate and review, know that it really does make a difference. And if you'd like to carry on the conversation, then you can connect with me on Instagram at Ruth Poundwhite, sign up to my newsletter at ruthpoundwhite.com/newsletter, or my personal favorite, join me inside the low ticket membership at ruthpoundwhite.com/membership. And keep doing what you're doing because your work really does matter.